This is not a commercial for The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe, the award-winning podcast now entering its 10th year and available wherever podcasts are listened to. No, this is a commercial for Mike Rowe's foundation, which has just set aside $10 million to help train the next generation of skilled workers. That money is available right now at microworks.org. It's waiting for anyone who wants to learn a skill that doesn't require a 4-year degree. Electricians, plumbers, linemen, welders, shipbuilders, HVAC techs. America is desperate for men and women with skills they don't teach in universities. And the MicroWorks Foundation is committed to helping train America's workforce for hundreds of thousands of AI-proof six-figure jobs just waiting to be filled. Apply today for a work ethic scholarship at microworks.org or support our efforts with a donation of any size. We're closing America's skills gap one job at a time, and we could use your help at microworks.org, MIKEROWE works.org.
Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Before we jump into today's fascinating episode, I want to talk about something equally fascinating and crucial for our mental well-being, our brain health. We often talk about physical fitness, but what about the fitness of our brains? How do you get wired for success? Well, that's where a tool like neurofeedback can be super helpful. Imagine being able to see your brain's activity and health improve in real time. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, I know, but with the Mandy device, it's becoming a reality. It uses cutting-edge technology to help you exercise one of your most important muscles, your brain. So how does it work? It uses a technology called functional near-infrared spectroscopy to measure blood flow in your prefrontal cortex. That's the area of the brain that is key to functions like focus, decision-making, and emotion regulation. When you wear the Mandy headband, it captures the blood flow dynamics in this region of your brain, mirroring the ongoing brain activity. I've been using Mandy for a while now, and one thing that stands out to me is how much your current state and mood affects your results. It's kind of obvious when you think about it, but it's also really eye-opening to see how different states affect your brain's performance in real time. What's so compelling about Mandy is that it's backed by experts in the field of neuroscience, and I just love that it offers a way to take proactive steps toward better brain health. With its help, you can train your brain much like you might train your body. So when you lift weights, for example, you see your muscles grow, so you know your training is effective. You don't usually get that kind of visual feedback when you train your brain, right? It's a black box and you don't really know if what you're doing is making a difference or not. And that's where Mandy comes in, because it makes the exercise tangible by turning your neural activity into something that you can visualize and interact with so that you can actually see your progress. The more you train, the stronger those neural pathways become, leading to lasting improvements in mental resilience and cognitive performance. Thinking about brain health in this way really shifts our perspective on what it means to stay fit. It's not just about running or lifting weights. It's also about keeping our minds sharp and responsive. So if you're curious about how you can start this kind of training, Mandy is a great option that brings sophisticated technology into an accessible format. To learn more and to get your own Mandy, head over to mandy.io. If you want to get wired for success, it's crucial to remember that our brains are at the core of everything we do. So again, if you would like to experience neurofeedback for yourself, head over to mandy.io. Without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another short and sweet solo episode. Today I decided to focus on something practical. If you want, it's all about turning those lemons that life hands you into delicious lemonade. Or in other words, how can we approach the things we don't enjoy in our lives differently so that we can actually turn them into something we do enjoy? So I think we all have those things in our lives that we have to do, but that we don't really enjoy, right? For me, for instance, I don't particularly like cleaning. I love a clean house, but I don't like cleaning. So I want the result, but I don't love the process. For others, it might be that they would love to be in better shape, but they just hate working out. You catch my drift. So there are always things that we find less enjoyable, but they just have to get done, right? So getting back to the cleaning example. It always feels like it takes hours for me to clean everything, and then it takes the kids about 5 minutes to create another huge mess, and I could start all over again. And I'm the first to admit that this attitude is not helpful at all. If I look at it that way and it feels pointless and like a waste of time, it's no wonder I don't enjoy it, right? Makes me feel like Sisyphus, who was condemned by the gods to eternally push a boulder up a mountain only for it to roll back down each time he nears the top. If you have kids, you know what I mean. So let's get a bit curious about what's going on here. Do I not like it and that creates my negative attitude towards it? Or does my negative attitude towards cleaning prevent me from liking it? And how big is the influence of my attitude anyway? And how big is the influence of attitude anyway? Does your attitude really matter that much? I believe it does, and here's why. Your attitude describes your readiness to act or react in a certain way. Your attitude is determined by your values, your personality, your emotions, your beliefs, your experiences, and your perceptions. All work together to form your attitude toward a certain object, person, or event. Your attitude strongly influences how you think about a certain topic and consequently how you act in a certain situation. There are lots of different definitions for attitude, but the one that resonates most with me is this. An attitude is a learned tendency to evaluate things in a certain way. It's a direction in which we lean, if you like. You can have a positive, negative, or ambivalent attitude toward a certain thing, person, or topic. When you have a positive attitude towards something, you support it. When you have a negative attitude towards something, you disapprove of it. And when you have an ambivalent attitude, then you have mixed feelings about it. What's interesting about attitude in general is that it has at least 3 different components that is sometimes referred to as the ABCs of attitude. A stands for affective component. This is all about your emotions and how you feel about something. B stands for behavioral component. This is all about how your attitude influences your behavior. And C stands for cognitive component. This comprises your thoughts and beliefs about that certain topic, person, or event. And just like you can have conscious and subconscious beliefs, you can have conscious and subconscious attitudes, both of which affect what you do and how you interact with the world around you. So, what's the difference between a belief and an attitude? In general, a belief is more specific and it's more on the cognition side, whereas your attitude is more general and more on the emotional side, if that makes sense. Let's say, for instance, that your attitude towards change in general is negative. You will have a very hard time believing in any kind of change, no matter what it is and how beneficial it could be to you. When you think about your mindset as your mental operating system, your attitudes are one part of your mindset. I find all those definitions a little fuzzy, to be honest, but mindset might be more about how you see and experience the world, while attitude is more about how you interact with the world based on those experiences. Does that make sense? Anyway, I wanted to tell you about this pretty cool study they did, which illustrated nicely how your mindset and attitude control so much more than you might believe. In that study, researchers tested whether the relationship between exercise and health is moderated by one's mindset. To do that, 84 female room attendants working in 7 different hotels were measured on physiological health variables affected by exercise. Those in the informed condition group were told that the work they do, like cleaning hotel rooms, is good exercise and satisfies the recommendations for an active lifestyle. Examples of how their work was exercise were provided. Subjects in the control group were not given this information. Although actual behavior did not change, 4 weeks after the intervention, the informed group perceived themselves to be getting significantly more exercise than before. As a result, compared with the control group, they showed a decrease in weight, blood pressure, body fat, waist to hip ratio, and body mass index. And I find studies like this endlessly fascinating because they show how important mindset really is. It's not woo-woo. It really affects your mind and body in measurable ways. Now, the question is, how can you use this knowledge to create positive change in your life? When you look at the experiment, I'd say that what the researchers actually did was reframing the work those room attendants were doing. Before, they might have thought about their work as a means to an end. It's what they did to earn money, right? It's not particularly prestigious work, so maybe their attitude toward their work wasn't that great. Maybe they were stressed because they felt like so many other people that they never had enough time to work out. In fact, at the onset of the experiment, 66.6% of the subjects reported not exercising regularly, and 36.8% reported not getting any exercise at all. So they simply were not aware of the fact that their work was good exercise. They just didn't think about their work as a form of exercise. And their health status reflected their perceived levels of exercise rather than their actual levels. And that's super interesting, right? Now, when the researchers reframed the work they did as exercise, this might have changed their attitude toward their work, right? All of a sudden, work wasn't preventing them from working out. Work was perceived workout in itself and helped them to stay healthy and fit, which was exactly what those people were experiencing. They did not report changing any of their behavior, yet their weight, blood pressure, body fat, weight to hip ratio, and body mass index all improved. So reframing their situation helped them change their attitude toward their work, and it might have shifted their entire mindset towards seeing the health benefits of their work. Ever since I heard that study, I'm trying to reframe cleaning in the same way. So instead of looking at cleaning as something that I don't enjoy and that wastes my time, I look at it as a form of exercise. And that actually really helped to shift my attitude towards it. Of course, this effect is not limited to cleaning. Whenever you encounter something you don't enjoy, depending on what it is that you want to reframe, ask yourself one or all of these three questions. Number one, what can I learn from this? Number two, what's the hidden benefit? And last but not least, number three, how can I make this more enjoyable? By answering all three of these questions, you are likely to shift your thoughts and emotions around that topic and thus shift your attitude toward it. Does that make sense? When you discover the lesson you can learn from that experience and or its hidden benefit, it will change how you think and feel about it. And when you consciously make the experience more enjoyable, you lower your inner resistance even more and pave the way for a shift in attitude. I especially love question number 3. How can I make this more enjoyable? Sticking with the cleaning example, I started listening to my favorite podcasts while I do the cleaning, and now it feels like a bit of a treat because I get to do something I love at the same time. Now, what do you think? Do you have an unpleasant chore that you're trying to reframe at the moment? How can you make it more enjoyable? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. That's it for today. Take care and talk soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.